It was supposed to be just another night of satire and sketch comedy at Saturday Night Live, a show famous for its edgy humor and political jabs. But on this particular evening in March 2025, no one expected that a single skit would ignite a nationwide firestorm. The audience inside Studio 8H at Rockefeller Center was electric, eagerly awaiting the next surprise celebrity appearance. Then, as the cameras panned, the unexpected happened. Hollywood A-lister Matt Damon stepped onto the stage. Dressed in a red trucker hat with the words "Keep America First," a thick flannel jacket, and exaggerated cowboy boots, Damon launched into a full-blown parody of a MAGA supporter. His accent was exaggeratedly Southern, his mannerisms a deliberate mimicry of conservative politicians, and his speech was filled with over-the-top slogans about fighting the woke mob and saving real America. At one point, he dramatically waved a miniature American flag and shouted, "They want us to read books now? What happened to good old common sense?" The studio audience roared with laughter, some genuinely amused, others nervously chuckling at the audacity of the performance. But outside the walls of Studio 8H, the reaction was far from unanimous. Social media erupted almost instantly, while liberal-leaning viewers hailed the skit as a hilarious takedown of what they saw as MAGA hypocrisy. Conservative voices saw something different: mockery, condescension, and yet another example of Hollywood elites looking down on working-class Americans. Within minutes, clips of the performance flooded Twitter and TikTok, with captions like, "Saturday Night Live just crossed the line," and "Matt Damon disrespects real Americans on national TV." The backlash was swift, and the videos spread like wildfire, racking up millions of views in just hours. For Hollywood and Saturday Night Live's writers, it was just another joke. For millions of Americans, however, it was yet another reminder that mainstream entertainment had no respect for their beliefs, their culture, or their values. And in the midst of this brewing controversy, Karoline Leavitt, a rising conservative firebrand, took notice. Within minutes, she fired off a tweet that would change everything. The moment Matt Damon's Saturday Night Live skit ended, the internet was already ablaze. Social media platforms lit up with reactions, with some praising the performance as bold satire and others condemning it as yet another attack on conservative America. But while opinions flew across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, one voice cut through the noise louder than the rest: Karoline Leavitt. Leavitt, a rising conservative media personality and former congressional candidate, wasted no time. Just minutes after the skit aired, she took to Twitter with a fiery post that instantly went viral. Hollywood elites like Matt Damon think they can mock millions of hard-working Americans and get away with it. This isn't comedy, it's outright disdain for the values that built this country. Shameful. The tweet exploded. Within an hour, it had amassed over 100,000 likes, 50,000 retweets, and tens of thousands of comments, ranging from MAGA supporters expressing their outrage to liberals dismissing her as overreacting. But Leavitt didn't stop there. She doubled down, responding to critics and rallying conservatives around a growing sentiment that Hollywood had once again shown its true colors. They hate us, they mock our faith, our patriotism, our love for America, and they expect us to keep paying for their movies and TV shows. Maybe it's time we show them that we won't be disrespected anymore. Boycott SNL. Cancel Hollywood. As the tweet gained momentum, it became the rallying cry of conservatives nationwide. Prominent right-wing commentators, influencers, and political figures quickly joined the conversation. Tucker Carlson, in a late-night post, called the skit an unprovoked attack on the heart of American values. Ben Shapiro released a rapid response video titled "Hollywood's War on Middle America Exposed," dissecting how the entertainment industry had become a propaganda machine for liberal ideology. Even Donald Trump Jr. chimed in, sharing Leavitt's tweet with the caption, "They hate you, they hate everything you stand for. It's time we stop supporting people who openly despise us." By the time the sun rose the next morning, Boycott SNL and Cancel Matt Damon were trending nationwide. Furious MAGA supporters posted videos of themselves throwing away DVDs of Damon's films, including The Bourne Identity and Good Will Hunting, Some went further, calling for a complete boycott of NBC and any sponsors associated with. Sensing the moment, Leavitt seized the opportunity to further cement her role as the voice of forgotten Americans. She appeared on Fox News' morning show where she didn't hold back. Looking directly into the camera, she delivered a pointed message. This isn't just about Matt Damon. This is about Hollywood's endless war against conservative values. They think we're stupid. They think we're beneath them. They mock our accents, our faith, our love for this country. Well, I have a message for Matt Damon and his elite friends in Hollywood. We're not laughing, and we're done supporting people who hate us. The clip went instantly viral, with conservative media outlets amplifying her message. Newsmax ran an entire segment dedicated to exposing Hollywood's blatant hypocrisy. While social media influencers on the right called for action, the movement was no longer just about one skit. It had become a full-fledged battle over Hollywood's treatment of conservative America. Liberals, of course, pushed back. Late-night hosts like Trevor Noah and Stephen Colbert mocked the outrage, calling it the most predictable meltdown of the year. A segment on The Daily Show sarcastically noted, "Republicans are mad because Saturday Night Live made fun of them? Have they ever seen Fox News? Their entire business model is making fun of liberals." Hollywood celebrities also rallied behind Damon. Mark Ruffalo tweeted, "Comedy is supposed to make you think. If you're offended, maybe it's because the joke hit a little too close to home." Meanwhile, NBC executives remained silent, hoping the backlash would fade. But as days passed, it became clear that this was not just another fleeting internet controversy. The divide was growing deeper. Conservative viewers were actively tuning out of mainstream entertainment, pledging to cancel their subscriptions to streaming services they saw as woke propaganda. The Hollywood versus Middle America culture war was reaching new heights, and Karoline Leavitt was leading the charge. But what no one knew yet was that the story was about to take an even more dramatic turn. A leaked video from behind the scenes of Saturday Night Live was about to shift the entire narrative and change everything. As Karoline Leavitt's fiery tweets spread across social media, what had begun as a simple SNL skit morphed into a nationwide cultural battle. The hashtags boycott SNL and cancel Matt Damon began trending at record speed, with thousands of outraged viewers calling for a complete boycott of NBC, SNL, and Damon himself. Videos flooded social media, showing conservatives burning DVDs of The Bourne Identity and Good Will Hunting, vowing never to support Damon again. Others posted screenshots of their canceled NBC streaming subscriptions, declaring, "We're done funding the people who hate us." The conservative media ecosystem immediately seized the moment, using Damon's skit as proof of Hollywood's bias against conservative America. Fox News aired a special titled "Hollywood's Contempt for Patriotic Americans," with anchors questioning why entertainment had become so politically one-sided. Prominent conservative commentators like Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson weighed in, framing the backlash as a referendum on Hollywood's arrogance. "Hollywood doesn't just disagree with conservatives," Shapiro declared in a viral clip. "They despise you. They mock your values, your faith, your patriotism, because they think they're better than you. Well, we don't have to support them anymore." Meanwhile, Republican politicians entered the conversation, using the controversy as an opportunity to push back against Hollywood's influence. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis tweeted, "Hollywood elites think they can mock millions of Americans without consequences. Maybe it's time we stop funding their projects with tax breaks. Boycott SNL." Senator Josh Hawley took it further, calling for a review of federal tax incentives for film studios that shoot in conservative states. "Why should Missouri taxpayers help fund an industry that openly mocks them?" he asked in a Senate hearing, further fueling the anti-Hollywood sentiment. Despite the growing boycott movement, liberal media figures and Hollywood elites defended Damon and SNL. Late-night hosts, including Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel, mocked conservatives for being overly sensitive. "Oh no, Republicans are mad because someone made fun of them on TV," Colbert joked. "Have they ever watched Fox News? That's literally their entire business model." Hollywood actors also came to Damon's defense. Mark Ruffalo tweeted, "Satire has been part of comedy for decades. If you're offended, maybe it's because the joke hit a little too close to home." Meanwhile, Robert De Niro dismissed the outrage entirely, saying, "These people claim to be tough, but they can't handle a joke? Give me a break." But not all of Hollywood stood with Damon. James Woods, one of the few openly conservative actors, fired back. Matt Damon just sold his soul to Hollywood's liberal machine. Used to respect the guy, but I guess even America's good guy has to fall in line. The growing divide between Hollywood and Middle America was becoming more evident. As conservative calls for a boycott grew louder, corporations and advertisers began to feel the pressure. Major sponsors of Apple, Nike, and Ford received thousands of messages from angry customers demanding they cut ties with the show. A viral post circulated listing brands that advertised during SNL's broadcast, urging conservatives to boycott those companies immediately. "They fund the people who hate you. Stop giving them your money." By midweek, several sponsors quietly removed their advertisements from SNL's social media pages, a move widely seen as an attempt to avoid backlash. Apple TV Plus postponed the release of a Matt Damon-led project, fueling speculation that the controversy was hurting his career. Meanwhile, streaming services noticed a drop in subscriptions from conservative states as viewers actively began tuning out of mainstream Hollywood entertainment. The movement was no longer just about one skit. It had become a full-scale rejection of Hollywood's liberal dominance. By the end of the week, it was clear that this controversy had grown beyond anyone's expectations. News outlets, social media influencers, and politicians were no longer just talking about Damon or SNL. They were discussing whether Hollywood itself had become an ideological monopoly. Why is it acceptable to mock Middle America, but if a comedian makes a joke about a liberal movement, their career is over? Karoline Leavitt continued to lead the charge, appearing in multiple interviews and doubling down on her message. On Fox News, she delivered a powerful statement. "This isn't just about Matt Damon. This is about an industry that openly despises half the country. They think our values, our faith, and our patriotism are jokes. But we're not laughing anymore." As her influence skyrocketed, she gained hundreds of thousands of new followers and solidified her place as the face of the conservative resistance to Hollywood. But just when it seemed the controversy had reached its peak, a shocking revelation changed everything. A leaked behind-the-scenes video from SNL surfaced, one that completely flipped the narrative on its head. Just when it seemed like the backlash against Matt Damon and Saturday Night Live couldn't escalate any further, a bombshell leak changed everything. Late one evening, a 2-minute behind-the-scenes video surfaced on social media. The shaky footage, clearly recorded secretly on a phone, revealed a private conversation between Matt Damon and an SNL writer, and its contents sent shockwaves through the debate. In the video, Damon looked tense, arms crossed, his expression serious. His voice was barely above a whisper, but it was unmistakably clear. "I don't think this is a good idea. I get satire, but this feels like it's going too far." The writer, whose face was off camera, laughed dismissively. "Come on, Matt, it's just comedy. The producers love it, the network loves it. It's gonna kill." Damon sighed, clearly uncomfortable. "Yeah, but it's not just about the joke. It's about what happens after. You're playing with fire." The video cut off abruptly, but those few seconds were enough to completely flip the narrative. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere, on Twitter, YouTube, conservative news sites, and even mainstream outlets. The reaction was immediate. Conservatives who had spent days attacking Damon suddenly found themselves rethinking their stance. If he had tried to stop the skit and warn SNL about the backlash, was he truly the villain? Then a second leak followed, this time an internal email chain between Damon and SNL producers. The messages, reportedly from a production insider, showed Damon raising concerns about the skit before it aired. In one email he wrote, "I understand satire, but is this really the direction we want to go? Feels like we're deliberately poking the bear here." A producer responded bluntly, "This is SNL, Matt. We make fun of everyone. Besides, controversy is good for ratings. That email in particular set off a firestorm of reactions. Conservatives who had been calling for a boycott of Matt Damon suddenly turned their anger toward SNL and NBC. Had Damon been pressured into doing the skit? Was he just a pawn in Hollywood's political game? Ben Shapiro, who had previously slammed Damon, shifted his stance in a new podcast episode. So let me get this straight. Matt Damon actually tried to stop this skit, but NBC forced it through anyway? Classic Hollywood. The machine uses you, chews you up, and spits you out when things go south. Tucker Carlson aired a special segment on Fox News, reframing Damon as a victim of the entertainment industry's obsession with controversy. This isn't about one actor mocking conservatives. This is about a corrupt industry that thrives on division, an industry that will sacrifice even its biggest stars for the sake of ratings. Even Elon Musk jumped into the conversation, replying to Leavitt's original tweet with a cryptic message: "Hollywood is a machine. Do what they want, or they'll destroy you." Almost overnight, the target of conservative outrage shifted from Damon to SNL itself. The calls for a boycott, once centered around the actor, were now focused on the network. The hashtag boycott NBC began trending alongside cancel SNL, with conservatives demanding an apology from NBC executives. The backlash started affecting the network financially. Advertisers who had already been wary now faced direct pressure from conservative customers. Several major sponsors, including a leading insurance company and a major fast food chain, pulled their ads from the next episode of SNL. For the first time in decades, SNL was in real trouble. Ratings for the next episode plummeted, with thousands of conservative viewers boycotting the show entirely. Even among liberal audiences, many started questioning whether SNL had gone too far. On The Daily Show, a comedian admitted, "Look, I get that satire is important, but maybe, just maybe, constantly mocking half the country isn't the best way to bring people together." With advertisers pulling out, ratings dropping, and public trust in mainstream media at an all-time low, NBC executives scrambled to contain the damage. Meetings were held behind closed doors, but one thing was clear: somebody had to take the fall. Rumors swirled that NBC was considering a shakeup at SNL, with insiders whispering about executive producer Lorne Michaels stepping down. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt capitalized on the moment, declaring victory. "They thought they could get away with it, but we exposed the truth. Hollywood doesn't care about its own. They only care about pushing their agenda." Matt Damon learned that the hard way. Damon himself remained silent, caught between two warring factions. To Hollywood elites, he was tainted by the controversy. To conservatives, he was now a reluctant martyr, a symbol of how even A-list celebrities weren't safe from Hollywood's political games. As the dust settled, one question remained. If Hollywood could turn on someone as beloved as Matt Damon, who else had been forced into roles they didn't want to play? As the dust settled from the Saturday Night Live controversy, the fallout was bigger than anyone had expected. What had started as a simple comedy skit had exposed the deep fractures within Hollywood, pushing the industry into an unprecedented crisis of trust. The leaked video and emails had flipped the narrative, turning SNL from the one mocking others to the one under fire. Advertisers continued pulling sponsorships, and ratings plunged to historic lows, forcing NBC into damage control mode. Then came the final blow. NBC announced that Lorne Michaels, SNL's legendary executive producer, was stepping down. Though the network framed it as a long-planned retirement, insiders knew the truth. The backlash had finally reached the top. With SNL in freefall, industry insiders began whispering about a larger shift in Hollywood's power dynamics. For years, critics had claimed that the entertainment industry was an ideological monopoly, enforcing a strict liberal agenda while silencing dissenting voices. Now, with public trust at an all-time low, even mainstream media outlets were questioning the industry's future. In a shocking turn, some left-leaning journalists acknowledged the problem. One columnist at The Atlantic wrote, "For years, Hollywood has claimed to be inclusive. But if inclusivity doesn't extend to political diversity, is it really inclusivity at all?" Meanwhile, on conservative platforms, the discussion expanded beyond SNL. Newsmax aired a special titled Hollywood Exposed: Who Else Has Been Silenced?, sparking speculation about how many other actors had been pressured into politically charged roles they didn't believe in. Amid the chaos, Karoline Leavitt emerged stronger than ever. What had begun as a single viral tweet had turned her into one of the most influential conservative voices in the country. With millions of new followers and mainstream media attention, she announced the launch of her own media company, vowing to challenge Hollywood's cultural monopoly. Her first public statement: "They mock us, they silence us, but they don't get to define us. It's time for something new." This was never just about Matt Damon. It wasn't even just about SNL. This was about power. Who controls the narratives in entertainment, who gets to speak, and who gets silenced? The real question is, what happens next? Does Hollywood learn from this moment, or does it double down on its agenda? And more importantly, will audiences continue supporting an industry that openly mocks them? What do you think? Drop a comment below and let's discuss. Did Hollywood go too far? Should SNL be held accountable, or is this just comedy? Do you think other actors have been forced into similar situations?